exclusive presentation of Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Sports.
The Duke Blue Devils have not lost an ACC game since February 5th, 1998. Since that game, 31 teams have tried and failed, but 3 clubs have taken them into overtime.
Hands all the way. Overtime all the way.
It's tied at 79. The offensive rebound. Unbelievable.
What a clutch 3-point shot to send it in overtime.
Maryland has lost 6 straight to the Blue Devils, but Gary Williams thinks he has the guys to beat them. All-American Terrence Morris has 2 double-doubles in the last 2 games. Lonnie Baxter is averaging 26 points and 8 rebounds the last 3. Maryland meets Duke next. We are in Durham, North Carolina, Cameron Indoor Stadium, and what a matchup tonight. Maryland ranked 23rd in the country, and the Blue Devils of Duke, the number 3 team in the nation. And hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brandon, along with Billy Packer. Glad to have you along for what really should be a terrific game. Duke hadn't lost in the conference yet, Billy, and of course Maryland is red hot 5 out of the last 6. What can we expect tonight?
Well, Maryland has not played well in recent memory against Duke. 6 straight losses they've had, and so I think Maryland has got to stay in this ball game early and prove they belong in the same court.
What a year Chris Carrawell is having for Duke.
Well, when you think back, his freshman year he was not a starter. Then all of a sudden he became an important role player. Then a starring role player last 2 years. Now he is the premier player in the league, having a great season.
This should be fun. Folks, what a matchup coming your way from Cameron Indoor Stadium. The Terrapins and the Blue Devils. Starting lineups are coming up next. Duke comes in with a record of 18-2. Maryland 16-6, 5-4 in the conference. Take a look at the Amico starting lineups. First for the Terrapins of the University of Maryland. They do start a freshman point guard, Steve Blake. Danny Miller and Terrence Morris are the forwards. Lonnie Baxter at the center. He's been on a tear. Juan Dixon has been the go-to guy. For Duke, the Blue Devils ranked 3rd in the country, and they've started the same 5 all year. Chris Carrawell, Billy talked about him in the open. Battier, what a defensive player he is. Carlos Boozer gives him a tremendous lift. Nate James and the freshman point guard, Jason Williams. Good matchup. It's Duke, and Maryland will have the opening tip for you right after this. Cameron Indoor Stadium is rocking. We're set to go. The officials, Mike Wood, Carl Hess, and Ted Valentine. Mike Wood will toss up the basketball, and we're underway. Maryland will have it first. This is the freshman Blake working against the freshman Williams.
Carrawell on Dixon.
Inside to Baxter. He's been on a tear the last couple of games. Makes it, it's 2-0 Terps.
I like that article about Baxter. It said that he came into Maryland at 265. He still weighs 265, but now it's muscle. And he really has been exhibiting that, particularly in the last 3 games.
Remember, Curtis Schultz played for Maryland. He's now the strength coach, doing a fine job. That's for 3. Nate James.
James had 2 outstanding games against Maryland last year, where he played minimal minutes.
Juan Dixon with a turnaround.
Great hustle play by Dixon in the game against NC State the other day. One of the best hustle plays I've seen by a player in this league in a long time.
The net got caught on the iron, and so they fixed that. And now they'll bring the ball in again. Just underway, 19:07 to play. It's Maryland 4, Duke 3. Tim Brandt and Billy Packer with you.
Full court pressure by Gary Williams. And we remember the games last year in which Duke annihilated Maryland on both occasions. Duke had the perfect team to play against that pressure.
Nate James again. He's got all 5 of the points for the Blue Devils.
A Washington, D.C. product, making himself feel at home, isn't he?
They double on Baxter. Miller from beyond the arc. Yes.
Really important for Maryland early confidence. Stay with Duke.
Miller has hit 40% of his threes this year. Terps by 2.
Remember the game at Maryland this year. Maryland missed 20 of its first 25 shots.
Boozer throws up an air ball. Ball still loose. This foul is going to be on Nate James. A look at Gary Williams. 44 and 12 over the last 2 years. That's 79%. He's been on a pretty good run. But he's just 2 and 21 against Duke with Mike Krzyzewski on the bench.
Well, remember how short a time he spent on the bench here 2 years ago, Tim. He was in the game for about 6 minutes, 2 tees, and said goodbye.
Morris left alone.
Maryland doing a nice job surrounding the boards.
Taken away by Williams. Transition basket.
Tremendous steal by Williams.
We're tied at 7.
Actually, he picked that off twice. Baxter open. He wants that ball inside. Double team, weak side, help by Battier. Boy, Maryland really has to pick that up. If Battier is going to double team that much from the weak side, Terrence Morris should be wide open for some dumps. Baxter ought to recognize that. Look to hit him early.
Oh, how about that? Nate James just off to a blistering start. He now has 7 points.
There's where Baxter's wide body normally puts him in and finishes well. You know, James with Dixon on him, Tim, has got a lot of size, and so far he's taken advantage of it on 2 plays. It looks like he really wants that ball down and low.
James gets fired up for Maryland since he is from that area. Actually considered going to Maryland, ended up at Duke. He talked about this week what a rivalry it is between Maryland and Duke, especially for him.
Huge win for the Tar Heels over NC State. Gives them 2 wins on state.
It's a little bit surprising, that game. There's a foul on Dixon.
Critical game for Carolina. That moves them right now as we speak into 2nd place in the league.
The day started with 4 teams tied for 2nd. You're right, they now move up. Maryland's trying to keep pace with them. Maryland and Carolina were playing Cole Fieldhouse later in the month, and Nate James goes out of the ball game. Dunleavy checks in, and he is a talent.
He's in with Dixon on him, giving Dunleavy a lot of height advantage, and he's an excellent offensive rebounder.
Gary Williams saying that ball went off of Battier.
Battier on the drive on the inside, gets everything he wants, and then stripped at the last second.
Good call by the officials. Williams has it taken away. Here comes Blake.
That was Baxter on the tip.
Maryland's got numbers.
Dunleavy lost sight of the dribbler. Great hands.
We're tied at 9. Turnover for the Blue Devils of Duke. That's 2.
Boozer almost was able to corral that one. It was a very bad pass. He really has some hands inside.
Knocked out of bounds.
And again, you can see what Duke is employing defensively. They're coming over for weak side help anytime the ball goes in the low post. The man in the low post that makes the first catch should immediately look to throw opposite. There'll be a man wide open for a layup.
Maryland talked about withstanding the Duke early run. The Devils got out first and got that first knockout punch, early knockout punch against Virginia. They've had big leads against almost everybody.
Well, they're averaging the last 3 games 30-point advantage by halftime. There was a case where Christensen lost sight of the ball and man, a typical triangle defensive maneuver that you've got to have as a fundamental play. He did not see the ball in his man. The ball was whipped right on by him.
Foul against Christensen, his first. At the line is Baxter, a 61% free throw shooter.
About the only area of his game that is not of peak performance.
He's now made 69 of his 113. He's getting to the line.
Oh, he really is.
Makes them both.
And that's critical for Maryland to make free throws so that you can get into your press.
Maryland leads by 2. 16:24 to play in the first half.
I like the composure that Maryland has in this game. In the first game, they were so frenetic. trying to go after Duke with their defense, left a lot of gaps in the defense, and they were taking shots outside their offensive structure and gave Duke an opportunity to get that early lead.
They jumped Dunleavy, and it's taken away. Blake.
Good idea, though, even though it didn't work out. Morris was a little bit far underneath the basket.
Morris takes it away, and again, Maryland will run. Blake kicks it out to Dixon. Soft one-hander, and Dunleavy has the rebound.
Dunleavy's turned the ball over twice now in his passing.
Battier for three.
And there's where he is so effective.
Great putback by Dunleavy.
6'9", an excellent offensive rebounder. Morris late getting to the spot has got to recognize the double teaming by Duke University against the low post.
Maryland's missed it. Couple in tight. Christensen. Duke by 2.
Duke with the longest winning streak, active winning streak in the country right now, thanks to one of their former players, Tommy Amaker's win over Syracuse the other night at Seton Hall.
Terrence Morris banks it in with a little jump hook. That's his first bucket.
Morris last year here in Durham only had 7 points. Baxter had 2 solid games, 12 and 5 here, but the story last year here was Battier with 27. He had 4 for 4 threes.
Dunleavy.
Soft touch.
Fight for the rebound, and Duke gets it back. Williams left alone beyond the arc. Yes!
Well, I thought Dixon should have come behind him to steal that ball or block it. He was too relaxed. He could have got to Williams that time.
Duke by 3. Baxter. Dixon. Great give and go.
It really was a good cut to the basket. I think it surprised Carroll. You won't see him have that kind of a defensive deficiency very often.
Gary Williams getting on Terrence Morris now to be more aggressive, more assertive. Shot clock has not been a factor. Battier walks. So the third turnover for Duke. 14:02 to play in the first half. Duke by 1. Maryland defense has been causing some problems. Duke still leads by 1 with 14:02 to play in the first half.
There's Williams, 4 assists, coming off a 13-assist game against Virginia. Tim, you mentioned about the shot clock not being a factor. Duke has 6 games this year. They've scored over 100 points, so I don't think they worry too much about that shot clock.
Blue Devils have 5 turnovers, but Maryland with just 2 points off those. Pass into Miller, he misses, and followed by Baxter.
Beautiful pass, that sign. Really, Duke has been negligent defensively and guys moving without the ball.
Dunleavy again, moving to the basket and scores. Blake pushes it the other way. Miller for 3.
Dunleavy went and jumped at him, put himself completely out of position defensively. Better off playing under control.
Maryland goes to a zone.
And first time, 1-2-2. And a good job.
Offensive foul against Boozer.
There was a case where Boozer had that ball, and maybe the dump out quick to Dunleavy would have been the move. Dunleavy wide open with nobody on him for 3.
Boozer's father was at the University of Maryland when I was there. Tried to play basketball for Lefty Drizel, would practice with the team, never got in any games. Now lives in Alaska. Second player that Mike Krzyzewski's gotten from Alaska. Trajan Langdon being the first.
Are you intimating that he was so annoyed at Lefty that he moved to Alaska?
Oh, no. I think his dad was thrilled that he even got to play with those guys. That was a pretty good talent there.
They probably kicked him out of practice. Why don't you go to Alaska?
Here's Baxter.
Ooh, good block by Dunleavy.
Great rebound by Boozer. Oh, look at the pass to Dunleavy.
What I love about what Williams is doing now, he's forcing that defense to play him every time he touches the ball. He fakes penetration, then brings it back out. then kicks it back in. Really learning his trade in a hurry as a freshman.
We are tied at 20. This is Morris. Williams gets the rebound. Both teams like to push it.
Now notice the substitution pattern by Duke. Carrawell on the bench. James went out of the bench. Now Carrawell comes in, going to take Williams' spot. Mike Krzyzewski has 4 guys playing over 30 minutes. So he has to rotate that 7-man. Here we see Williams in, then out. Then Dunleavy moving beautifully without the ball.
This is what makes this kid so valuable. Carrawell is so versatile. Now he's playing the point. Back to Battier beyond the arc for 3.
As I said last year in this game, he was 4 for 4 from 3. He has expanded his game in that area. I think Maryland should get that ball to Baxter more. Force Boozer to really play him and maybe get into some foul trouble. There it goes.
Baxter again.
Good hands by Baxter. How about that, huh? Battier comes across from the weak side, and Baxter still controls the ball.
Baxter with 8 points, Billy, playing with so much confidence the last couple of games.
He really is. ACC Player of the Week. Surrounding the zone.
Again.
Just leaving him wide open. Sensational weak side rebounding. Dixon, no match for Battier.
Duke by 3. Dixon loses it. Nate James takes it himself.
Pretty nice play by James because Carrawell was in the center, but there was no passing angle. Good decision.
Vegas leads for the Blue Devils. They lead by 5. Gary Williams with a timeout. He doesn't want a Duke run right now with 11:14 to play first half.
See Sean Battier, we talk about his versatility as a basketball player. Dunleavy up with his shot. Dixon weak side rebounding. No chance whatsoever against Battier, who puts it back in. Nate James makes an excellent decision on this play. He never had the angle to pass it back to Carrawell. Just stayed in control. James off to an excellent basketball game here tonight.
Nate James 4 for 4, 9 points. Look at this. Duke 75%.
Well, for the game, they shot 61% against Virginia, so picking up right where they left off. Martisic, not a threat from out there. I'm surprised Boozer's playing with him.
Almost throws it away. Shot clock now at 10.
Holden needed to get much closer to the basket on that throw.
Dixon, running one-hander, tough shot.
Beautiful job by Dixon to square up on that one, Tim. You know, it looked like he was going to glide to his left. Instead, he squared up and had the good jump shot.
Duke by 3. So far, Maryland's been able to hang with them, Billy.
Well, they've gone from man-to-man, then to the zone, to the 2-3 zone, now back to man-to-man.
Battier beyond the arc. 3 more for Shane Battier.
And who set it up? Carrawell with the drive when he felt the double team and then just did a simple kick out. It's an easier team to defend with Baxter out of the ball game right now for Maryland.
And again, Dixon in the lane with the little jumper. He has 8 points.
Well, as I said, Dixon has a hard time with James size-wise. James can't handle the quickness of Dixon on the other end.
Blake has his shoe untied. He asked the official if he could tie it, and he said no.
Well, he can at a next time out. Not while the game's being played.
9:41 to play in the first half. It's Duke 30, Maryland 26. Timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. We'll be back to Cameron after this. Duke has won 18 games in a row and leads Maryland by 4 with 9:41 to play in the first half. Billy, in the last 3 games, Duke has led by 42, 17, and 32 at the half.
Well, I don't think we're going to see that tonight. I like the way that Maryland's playing in this game. They're playing a very smart and intelligent game. They're playing under control on both ends of the floor. This is the best I've seen Maryland play against a Duke team in quite some time.
Battier 2 of 3 from three-pointers. Did you see Jason Williams come back into the game? Battier again. He is red hot.
3 of 4, 1 off his total last year for the whole game.
11 points. Don't be so sure about that halftime score. Duke can explode. Baxter.
Wow.
Strong move.
Well, that showed me something, being able to shoot it through the arms of Boozer, who is extremely strong.
He now has 10 points. Cuts Duke's lead back to 5.
Baxter in the last 3 games, 26.3 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 3.3 blocks per game.
Maryland needs a stop. Here's Carrawell against Miller, and he is fouled.
And there's where Carrawell adjusting very well. He realized he's got a quickness advantage on Miller, gives the pump fake. Miller doesn't have the quickest feet. Carrawell goes by it.
Taj Holden comes in for Maryland. Last foul was on Miller.
This is going to be interesting. Right away, Battier sees Holden on him. Holden used to playing a guy down the low post. He could have problems with Battier on the outside.
Taj Holden surprised a few people. He came in when Terrence Morris was hurt, and the 6'10", 235-pound freshman was the player of the week. Maryland gets a turnover. Out to Blake.
There it is. That is there all game long.
Taj Holden with a great pass to Baxter, and he cuts the lead to 3.
Anytime you sense that double team coming from the weak side in that low post situation, just fire it across the lane. The guy's got to be open.
Carrawell. James for 3.
Tough shot.
Big rebound by Maryland.
Very seldom have a touch on a jump shot do you take like that.
Baxter's doing it both ends. Great rebound. He also is in double figures. Miller beyond the arc. Yes!
And how about that? Baxter with a little penetration kick out.
And Billy, we're tied again.
Two turnovers in a row by Williams, trying to do a little bit too much.
Blake. Holden. Yes.
And give Blake a lot of credit. He knew he was going into Battier, so instead of running hard through the charge, knowing Battier is going to wait in the charge, he dumped it off and stayed under control.
Really, Steve Blake is so impressive. A young freshman distributes the ball extremely well, protects it, and doesn't turn it over very much.
Gary Williams staying out of that zone now.
Terps on a strong run, lead by 2.
Boozer has not been a factor against Baxter in the low post. Another tough shot by Duke. I'm really surprised they've gotten out of their offense. Mike Krzyzewski stands up, and I'm sure he's not only surprised but annoyed.
Tap by Baxter.
And Mike Krzyzewski's called a timeout here. He can sense his club has gotten out of focus here.
It's an 11-0 Maryland run. Mike Krzyzewski wanted goaltending, offensive goaltending on that last trip, and he's still complaining about it. This is what he's done the last 2 games, Billy. He's been on fire.
Baxter, as I said, at 265 pounds, one of those wide bodies who has good hands and excellent footwork. And really tough to handle inside.
He has averaged 26 points, 5 blocks in the last 2 games, and Baxter single-handedly brought Maryland back from a huge deficit against NC State on Sunday to win that game.
Well, as I said, in the 2 losses last year against Duke, even though Baxter was behind Akese, he had 12 points, 5 rebounds in one, and 10 points and 7 rebounds in the other. So we'll see that last play right here. Ball outside the cylinder in my estimation.
Good no call.
Yep. They drop back into the man-for-man. Another steal.
Blake.
Boy, that was Williams who made that a 6'2" guard. But he's trying to do too much, gets the foul. Blake probably shocked to see another guy his size going up and pinning one on the board.
6:44 to play in the first half. 37-33 Maryland. How about this?
Some block.
Maryland on an 11-0 run, 37-33 Terrapins, 6:44 to play in the first half. Lonnie Baxter has really been on a tear. The third game in the last 4 that he has had double digits in the first half.
Let's see if that timeout by Mike Krzyzewski gets his team back in an offensive flow.
Boy,
For some reason, when they got that little lead there, they started going one-on-one.
He really got after him during that timeout and challenged every one of them. Here's Dunleavy.
Rebounding opportunity available.
Christensen with a great putback.
Morris fell to the ground, allowed Christensen to be wide open inside.
Maryland by 2.
Christensen down low with Baxter. Good feed by Miller on the proper side.
Blake for 3.
Maryland doing a good job. I really like Baxter on the inside, the way he's thinking, too. The ball comes in, he senses the double team and is kicking the ball out.
That old adage, 2 men on me, somebody's got to be free.
Absolutely.
Maryland by 5. Battier's really been hot beyond the arc. Back to Battier.
Good pump fake.
Good shot.
Beautiful pump fake. And as I said, Holden not really defensively aware to be able to go out and play him that far away from the basket. Much more in tune to playing somebody in the low post.
Under 5.5 to play in the first half. Baxter. Taken away by Battier.
Great hands. Baxter got a little bit too far under the basket that time. I tell you, Williams trying to do too much now. He's got off to a tremendous start with those 4 or 5 assists right off the bat. Only 1 turnover. Now he's turned it over 3 or 4 times in a row.
Billy, that is 10 turnovers for Duke in the first half.
And
for a chance to win $1 million at the half-court line, don't miss the Bank of America Home Equity $1 Million Dream Shot. For complete rules, visit bankofamerica.com/sports. No purchase or transaction necessary. Bank of America, equal housing lender.
And Tim, in regard to the turnover and assist ratio, Duke has the best in the conference. So normally that is one of their prime assets because they are not a good rebounding team. As a matter of fact, only lead their opponents in rebounding by 1.6 a game.
Foul on Williams. 4:46 to play in the first half. Dixon, Morris. Morris is struggling in tight in the first half.
Now that's what makes this lead by Maryland even more amazing because Morris has not been a factor.
He is 1 for 4 in the first half.
You look at that threesome between Baxter, Morris, and Dixon. All 3 of them are in the top 10 in scoring in the ACC.
Drew Nicholas in the ball game now. Here's Baxter. Morris with the putback. He is struggling. Still alive. Baxter.
Oh, what a block.
Jump ball.
Both Christensen and Battier got a piece of that one.
Possession arrow Duke.
Baxter not a great leaper. He just is a wide body, strong, normally makes good judgments, but Maryland did the job on the offensive glass there. You get that many opportunities, eventually you'll start scoring. Now let's see if Williams will get back to distributing the ball and not worry about his one-on-one matchup with Blake.
Battier again beyond the arc. Wow, do you believe this? 16 points for Battier.
Pick it up right where he left off last year here, where he had 27 big ones.
Tied again.
Actually, Battier has had his top offensive performances against Maryland throughout his career.
Been a terrific first half. Wow, Dixon.
That is some move.
You know, when you talk to the Maryland coaches, Billy, they'll say, you know, Terrence Morris was supposed to be the go-to guy. Really didn't step up. Still a fine role player. They say Juan Dixon wants it all the time.
Well, he froze Carrawell that time, and we know what a good defender Carrawell is. Matter of fact, remember last year, Carrawell showing his versatility as a defender, took on Steve Francis up at Maryland and shut him down. Held him to 11. He's played big guys, he's played small guards. And of course, a guy as flexible as Steve Francis is, you don't have to say much more if you can play him defensively.
Foul was against Drew Nicholas, the freshman, and so Battier goes to the line. He's an 85% free throw shooter. And I mean, tonight, he has just been on fire. James comes back in, Boozer comes back in, Christensen and Dunleavy go out.
Pretty good job by Christensen coming off the bench with valuable minutes, because Baxter can get a center in a lot of foul trouble. So Mike Krzyzewski really getting some valuable minutes there and keeping Boozer out of foul trouble.
Battier has caused problems for Maryland defensively and offensively in almost every game he's played in against the Terrapins. Timeout on the floor. We'll return after these messages from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Tied again, this time 42, 3:47 left. Billy, take a look at the Jeep summary.
Well, Battier just doing a tremendous job out here tonight. We have seen a situation where Morris on the other side, who you would want to step up if you're Maryland, not doing it, but his team's still staying in there 42 all. I thought Duke was in great shape until Williams, who had been playing a superb game ball handling wise, all of a sudden started to set the pace for Duke to go one-on-one, and that really took them out of their offense and brought Maryland back into this game.
You know, he had, talking about Jason Williams, he had 8 turnovers and only 6 points against Maryland last month in Cole Fieldhouse. And if you look at the 2 point guards, Blake and Williams, so far, Blake has gotten the best of it.
Sometimes a freshman player, particularly going up against another freshman player of some magnitude, takes it on as a one-on-one challenge. And anytime you do that in basketball, you're going to be in trouble for yourself individually and obviously for the team. It's a team game with 5 guys having to play it all as one.
3:40 to play in the first half. We're tied at 42. Baxter comes way out. Morris left alone beyond the arc. Just ice cold.
See, there's an example. You've got a 2-on-4. That's the time you pull it back out, control the ball. Don't try to take it one-on-one.
Dixon tries a difficult shot at the other end.
Same thing.
Carrawell.
Wow, Boozer, just like Baxter's got the strong hands inside. You know, against Virginia, you had Carrawell with 25, Boozer 25, Battier 21. That was the 6th game this year in which they've scored over 100 points. And there he is with those powerful hands inside.
Foul is on Steve Blake, so Boozer is a 77% free throw shooter.
Which is really nice to have your post man that you're going to get the ball into down low, particularly late in the game, be able to go to the line and shoot almost 80%.
He had 25 points against Virginia, 16 points in the first 20 minutes. There was a pretty good point guard. Wojo, feisty anyway.
Baltimore prospect, or product rather.
Blue Devils lead by 1. They double Morris, they get it to Baxter, little jump hook, and the follow by Dixon.
All of that led to, because of the double team and nobody being able to get to Dixon for the block out.
2:45 to play, and Maryland leads by 1.
Some fake. Oh, Boozer misses.
And Morris takes it away.
Boy, what a fake by Williams to set that up. Boozer, I think, was shocked. Wasn't ready for the pass. That doesn't happen often. Those two are usually really in sync.
Miller for 3. The Terrapins now lead by 5. Correction, 4.
Boy, Maryland had battled back against what looked like a sure loss against NC State. Boy, Williams having problems.
And Dixon has it knocked away. Boy, Williams is quick. And Carrawell is fouled.
But what has happened to Williams in this game? Now he's starting to get frustrated himself, looking at the referees for some help, and they're not going to give him any. He'll learn as he gets more experience. And I think back to his night tonight, thinking like Bobby Hurley, his freshman and halfway through his sophomore year. There's the play that should have been put away by Boozer. Halfway through his sophomore year, Bobby Hurley really never understood how to play the point guard. Then all of a sudden, from February on, he became a different player.
Billy, the foul was on Steve Blake. That is his third, so he now leads the ball game, and that can be huge for Maryland.
Without question, because they really can't. They're almost like Duke in that respect. They cannot replace him for man that has the same skills. And remember, Blake did not start against NC State the other day, and I really think that's what put Maryland behind in that ball game.
That's rare. Battier missed the free throw.
Harry Williams has to be very, very satisfied with his team's performance so far in this half. Maryland gaining confidence with each minute that goes by.
And this foul is against Williams.
See, he's looking at referees, looking for help, but he is not in position defensively to guard his man, so as soon as the guy breaks, he tries to stop him with his hand check.
Williams now has 2, so Blake has 3, Williams has 2, they'll take him out, and Dunleavy comes in. Oh, what a pass by Nicholas to Miller, and he couldn't finish.
Threw that over the top of 3 Duke defenders who were kind of planted in cement under the basket.
Miller, boy, he had a look, instead goes to Morris. And Morris missed it, and he is right in close.
That is his shot, Tim. It was an excellent pass to the inside. Morris has got to finish those off. We're talking about a guy that was a preseason All-American pick.
Player of the Year candidate.
Push off by Carrawell, gets by with it.
45 seconds to play in the half. Battier's had the hot hand, off balance, he throws it up. And Morris gets the rebound.
And Maryland can hold for the last shot and will.
Down to 23.
The last time Maryland found herself in this kind of position was last year, but Maryland, the half ended even 37 all.
Shot clock is off. Oh, Baxter's wide open and Morris threw it away.
With anything on it, that pass is a layup. Battier down in the other end. He looks awful tired.
This is the worst half I've ever seen Morris have.
He really is, and it's amazing. You've got the Terps up 4, and a key player having that kind of a ball game.
Carrawell with a tough shot. Carrawell's first basket cuts the lead to 2 as the first half ends. Maryland 47, Duke 45. We'll return with our halftime activities right after this. How many ties and lead changes?
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Amoco, by your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers, by Aquafina, and by Geico Direct.
Well, we're at halftime. Maryland leading by 2. They have had 8 ties and 14 lead changes in the first half of this game. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt. It was Duke by 7 with 9.5 minutes to play in that first half. But Maryland went on an 11-0 run, led 37-33, shooting 50% from the field. Duke shot 58. But Duke is keeping Maryland in the game with 12 turnovers in the first half. Take a look at the sleep-in best of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Here, as we start the second half of the season, we'll show you who's doing what and where they are. Will Solomon still leads the ACC in scoring, but Chris Carrawell and Juan Dixon right behind him. Jason Collier, the leading rebounder, but 2 of them right here, Baxter and Morris of Maryland, are creeping up behind him with just about 9 apiece. And in field goal percentage per game, how about Carlos Boozer, the freshman? Chris Williams of Virginia. Lonnie Baxter of Maryland has really picked up his game the last 3 games. He has 14 points in the first half. Battier has 18. We'll be back with more of our halftime activities after this. Maryland by 2. Inside Cameron Indoor Stadium, it is like a steam bath right now. But what a first half we had. 14 ties, and I mean, it was spectacular. Now, keep in mind, the last 3 games at the half, Duke is led by 42, 17, and 32, and now Maryland has a 2-point lead on the Terrapins. Take a look at the Bud Light scoreboard. We'll take you through very quickly. The other games taking place tonight, North Carolina beat NC State 70-62, a game the Wolfpack thought they could get. And how about Georgia Tech beating the Cavaliers of Virginia 68-47 in the surprise of the ACC night? It's Auburn trailing LSU in the second half of that game, and also Tennessee leading Georgia 93-63 in the second half of that one. We'll be back with more right here at Cameron Indoor Stadium, Maryland by 2. A terrific first half of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball. Maryland and Duke, a 2-point game. Billy, does that surprise you?
Well, it doesn't surprise me the way that Maryland came into this game. I really liked the way they were focused. I thought Duke had a chance to explode and break the game open, but at that point in time, they started going one-on-one, and Williams was really the catalyst for it.
Take a look at the first half, and the highlights will show you that Baxter had a monster of a half.
Well, he really did. There's the double team by Duke coming from the weak side. Maryland eventually adjusted to that and started throwing back across that double team. There's Battier, who's had a sensational first half with 18 points to lead Duke.
And the Dodge first half statistics.
Well, Duke's shooting 58%. That's the only thing that's saving them, because they've turned the ball over 12 times, and that has really led to the confidence that Maryland has in this ball game.
Maryland 2 of 2 at the line, 3 of 5 for Duke. We'll be back to start the second half from Cameron Indoor Stadium right after these messages. Stay with us.
ACC Basketball is brought to you by Buick, by Nationwide Insurance, by Sleep In, by Advance Auto Parts, and by Dodge Trucks.
Just about set to start the second half. Maryland leading by 2. Take a look at our Buick keys of the game to start the second half, Billy.
Well, one of the things if you're Duke University is get back into playing Duke basketball and take better care of the ball with the turnovers they've had in this ball game. 12 turnovers total. That's something they've got to do. And for Maryland, it's not only Duke's intensity they have to take care of, it's the confidence with which they played in the first half to realize that this Duke team can be beaten. You know, many times when you get a club on a streak the way Duke has been and so dominant in a league, the other teams believe that there's something waiting to fall on them, and they've got to go ahead and be prepared for the intensity Duke shows because they're so used to winning.
Steve Blake, the freshman with the ball, he's got 3 fouls. Maryland is not the same team when he's not in the game. Dixon pulls the string a little bit and comes up short.
Pretty good job by Carrawell defensively that time. Here's Williams again. That time he gets it to work. Now you've got Morris in the first half 1 for 8. If you're Maryland, you've got to get him on track early in the second half. For Duke, Boozer was 0 for 2 and Carrawell was 1 for 3. The only 2 that they scored was at Carrawell's basket at the end of the game.
There's Morris.
Jimmy end of the first half. There's Morris. And again, Baxter is understanding what the defense is giving him and throwing back across the lane on those double teams.
Terrapins by 2.
And Morris has got to understand what's happening too and come to the ball. In the first half, he didn't make himself available.
Battier had a hot hander in the first half. Inside to go to Boozer.
I think that's a big move for Duke to go into Boozer often. They've got to get him on track and make Baxter work on the defensive end of the floor.
Running one-hander by Dixon. He really believes that there is no one that can stop him when he goes to the hoop.
Well, I think he's as quick as anybody in the country, and right now Carrawell's having a hard time staying with him.
Dixon has 14 points.
Oh, nice left-handed move by Carrawell.
And stayed with it.
Boy, there was no way to get that off. You know, Carrawell, though, is struggling in his running up and down the court. I think that he's going against the wall a little bit, as hard as he's played in the first half of the season.
This foul will be against Baxter.
If you're Duke right now, I think it's a good idea to go to Boozer inside, try to pick up another quick one on Baxter.
That's only the first on Baxter.
Watch this move inside. Nothing he can do with the ball other than go up left-handed and then get right back in position for the offensive rebound. Now, if you're Williams and you have a little bit more maturity, you'd know right now that that ball is going to go to Boozer. Let's see if he gets it there.
Carrawell is fouled. The bucket will count. Baxter picks up his second.
Maybe Maryland was thinking that too. They all had their eyes glued straight ahead. What a pass off the dribble. Carrawell lost Miller completely.
Carrawell is almost automatic at the line. He's hit 77% of his free throws this year.
Oh, a breakdown defensively by Duke. And that's Williams again. As the guard, he's responsible to be back there.
Juan Dixon has 16 points, and Maryland leads by 1 again. Williams. Blake pushes it to Miller. To Baxter. Jump hook, yes. How sweet is that? Turks by 3.
Well, he is so wide, Tim. You just can't get to him to block that shot. And Duke not looking inside at all to Boozer.
Dunleavy.
Dixon fell down in the lane and didn't recover in time.
We're tied at 55.
And now you fight the 5 guys from Duke on the floor and the crowd.
Baxter again, having a monster game. He has 18.
He's making Boozer look like he's not even on the floor.
Defense by Miller. Battier gets it back.
I think that was Baxter on the block. Steps by Baxter, got away with it.
Wow. 20 for Baxter. 59-55 Maryland. Blake's got 3. He's got to be careful. Here's Boozer, and he's fouled by Baxter. And just like that, Baxter picks up his 3rd.
Absolutely. Duke wasted 4 minutes not going inside to Boozer to get that 3rd foul on Baxter. Baxter's killing him on the other end of the floor. You've got to make him sit down with foul trouble.
Well, now it's a dilemma for Gary Williams because Baxter's doing all the offense, but he's got 3 personals.
Well, the only thing, he's going to have to put Holden in and sit him down. The only other opportunity he's got probably when he comes back in is to go a little zone. Because Duke can find a hole getting that ball to Boozer.
Boozer misses his first. Holden does come in for Baxter. Nicholas comes in for Blake. So both Maryland Terrapins with 3 personals will sit down. 16:04 to play. Boozer makes the second when it's a 3-point game.
And remember what Boozer did when Carolina got into some foul trouble against them in the overtime, and Boozer left unguarded, had the big game. But he's going to sit down now. Expect him to get back in there, however, shortly. That's the 3rd hand check foul on Williams tonight, and I think all of them were good calls. He has got to learn to play with his feet, not his hands.
15:55 to play.
Inside basketball with Coach K, catching behind the scenes each Sunday on WTV.
Here we'll see Baxter on the inside. Steps out. Boozer loses sight of his man, gets back screened twice. Baxter wide open for an easy put down. Baxter now out of the game with 3.
Blake out of the game with 3.
And Williams out of the game with 3. Boozer sitting down right now.
Gary Williams wants the ball in Dixon's hands. Dixon and Carrawell, pretty good matchup.
Morris still very quiet. Battier on him. Nice defense by Carrawell on Dixon, forcing him to give up the ball.
Tough shot by Morris, gets it back and banks it in.
Well, with Baxter out of the game, Morris has got to step up offensively and pick up that slack.
Maryland by 5 with 15:18 to play.
Battier with the monster first pass, been quiet in the second.
Dixon swatted it from behind and is called for the foul. Hey, Billy, coming up on Saturday, it's Duke against Georgia Tech. Now, you would look at this game and say, well, that should be a laugher, but absolutely not. After Georgia Tech beat Virginia tonight, who knows? That's coming up Saturday right here on the Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Sports Network.
And coming up Sunday, one of the most important games for NCAA tournament pairings that the ACC will have, and that's Maryland at Temple. ACC against Atlantic 10. Now, only Duke against St. John's remains as another major intersectional game, or any kind of game outside the conference for a team. The ACC this year has had their lowest percentage in wins against non-conference opponents in a long time. They're down at 67%. And that committee will look very closely at that Maryland-Temple game.
Gary Williams said it's the toughest back-to-back road trips he's had while at Maryland. Here's Dixon in the lane, running one-hander.
Dixon has got 3 fouls as well, so Gary Williams is kind of rolling dice right here now. He's got 3 key players with 3 fouls. A lot of time to go in this game.
I believe Dixon only has 2.
Only 2? I thought he had the 3rd one.
And he's got 18 points.
Almost picked up the 3rd one right there as James took him to the basket. Does have 2 fouls. And now asked to play point guard.
14.5 to play. Way outside by Morris.
Oh, Dixon. Pretty good job by neither player to foul there, Dunleavy and Dixon.
Battier from 3. Maryland's got numbers. They've got 3 on 1. Dixon pulls up and gets the roll.
Not a bad decision right there. He got back fairly well in the 3-on-1. Dixon loves that shot floating to the basket.
Maryland with its largest lead at 7 points. Oh, Carrawell breaking some ankles.
But Carrawell going back down court without fresh legs right now. Tell you, he has carried this team for half a year, and he looks tired to me.
Nicholas to Miller, kicks it out. Terrence Morris still
can't do it. There's Carrawell. He is such a fighter, though.
Can't remember a night for Morris like this. And look at Dixon. It's a 2-on-1. Miller scores.
What more can you ask of a guy? He gets down there and stops the 2-on-1 break with a great steal. None of his teammates get back to help out. Maryland scores again.
Billy, Mike Krzyzewski made the point after they played really 2 tough games. Virginia and North Carolina. He said our guys just have to get away from it. They're exhausted.
Yep. And it doesn't look to me that they've recovered. They do not have quick feet in this game.
James kicks it out to Carrawell beyond the arc, but he can still hit it.
He's having a special year, isn't he?
A special athlete, a throwback. Dixon throws it away.
And with Williams on the bench, Carrawell, as he did in the first half, has to move to the back and run the show.
After Dixon threw it away, Gary Williams got Blake off the bench, and he'll check back in at point for Maryland.
Well, you remember the 92 Duke team. That was not a very deep team. There is a throw into Christensen, doesn't have it. Dunleavy, a good offensive rebounder. But that 92 team was a club without a lot of depth. But it was an experienced team, and they knew how to slow a game down and then get their intensity.
Duke cuts Maryland's lead to 2, and this place is alive again. Holden.
Wrong shot by the wrong guy. That should be Duke's ball.
2:34 to play. Maryland by 2.
Here we're going to see that offensive rebounding I've been talking about in regard to Dunleavy. The ball goes into Christensen. He can't finish. Dunleavy gets on the boards again, and puts it back in. At 8 points in that first half. There's the pass back. Carrawell stops the 2-on-1, then makes the block. Duke doesn't get back in time to help. Miller puts it away. Just think what's on the line. Duke has now won 18 straight. They've got 31 straight in the conference.
And 11 and a half minutes to play with Maryland leading by 2.
Maryland goes zone, which I anticipated. Now that Baxter's back in the game. Duke not getting the calls they normally look for in this ball game as well. Battier saying to the official, he got me on the arm. Here you see Maryland in the 2-3 zone. Trying to protect Baxter down low.
Great pass inside the Boozer. We're tied.
Now, you see where Baxter's playing? He's playing on the wing down inside, trying to keep him out of foul trouble. But by doing that, it makes Maryland awful thin right down in the paint. Easy to get the ball to Boozer. Good recognition by Williams.
Entry pass to Baxter.
Boy, that rest by Boozer turned him into a wild man now that he's back up off that bench.
This broadcast is copyrighted presentation. Any use of it without the express permission of Raycom, Jefferson Pilot Sports, and the ACC is prohibited.
You notice tonight the officials are not calling the charge.
They're letting them play.
They really are. And so therefore that takes away something that Battier obviously is extremely good at. Probably better than anybody's played college basketball. But the referees are not making that call tonight.
Drew Nicholas, the freshman, just doesn't look comfortable. And throws it away.
How uncomfortable, Tim?
The other freshman throws it away the other way.
I won't fault Williams on that one because he got faked out by his own teammate who did not cut to the basket. When you make that move to cut, you've got to go all the way. You can't assume that he's going to assume you're going to pull it back up. So James was at fault on that turnover, although it'll go against Williams.
14 turnovers for Duke tonight. We're tied at 67 with 10 and a half minutes to play.
Battier on Baxter, not letting him get away.
You're looking at 2 outstanding point guards, and boy, they're going to be terrific as they grow in the ACC. Oh! The tap by Baxter.
Well, Blake made that play by forcing Battier to come over to help out on the shot. And let's see what happens now. They stay in the zone, matching up. Now it's a 1-2-2 with Baxter down inside.
Under 10 minutes to play. Battier for 3.
Now, in a 1-2-2 like that, Martisic would have to get all the way out to the corner. And he's just not capable of getting out there quick enough. Almost backcourt by Blake.
9:28 to play. Duke leads by 1. Keep in mind, the Blue Devils average 90 points per game. They lead the ACC in scoring. And with 9:28 left, they have 70 already.
Well, they're the #2 scoring team in the country behind Billy Tubbs' TCU club. It's one thing to score, it's another thing to score and win. TCU is not, Duke is, so that margin between scoring and defense is the key. Now, Mike Krzyzewski knowing he's got to rest some people for the stretch drive here. 9 minutes too long a time to go.
Battier, offensive.
Oh, they called the charge that time against the man that normally draws him, and Miller's laughing. We'll see the drive by Battier. No question, Miller was waiting on him.
So the Terrapins get it back with 9:12 to play and Duke leading by 1.
Duke, a team that scores more on free throws than the other teams shoot, are not having that work out for them tonight, that formula.
Terrence Morris beyond the arc. Finally hits one.
How big was that shot for Maryland? Get him on track.
He gives you that look with palms up like finally.
And there's the 1-2-2 zone. Baxter down inside.
Boozer.
Wow! Left hand, they couldn't call the foul on Baxter. They're just not calling that one. How was that power move? Left-handed.
We're tied at 72.
Williams keeping his hands off Blake. Good overplay by James. There's the charge. 265 pounds. Does Battier have some guts or not? He knew what was going to happen in that collision, and that's 4 on Baxter.
And Martisic comes off the bench.
Now that's some guts right there, because you know 265 pounds coming at you full speed is going to knock you to the floor. Battier stays right with it. Some people talk about the flop move to draw the charge. That was a gut move right there. No flopping on that one.
There was some contact.
Absolutely.
Tied at 72.
Again, Boozer trying to find some holes against that zone.
Oh, Battier!
Wow. He had 265 laying on him, and then he throws up a 3.
24 points for Battier.
Boy, you gotta love him.
This whole building is rocking. Duke by 3. We'll return after this message from the Atlantic Coast Conference. (75-72) Duke. Battier 6 of 8 beyond the arc.
In that 1-2-2 zone, it's hard to get out there on him, particularly with big men playing that baseline. Tim, I think both of these coaches tonight will look back, and they are having great games as coaches. Their substitution pattern, how they're playing, the instructions at halftime, as an example against Williams, to tell him to keep his hands off his man. The way they've substituted to protect against foul trouble. Ooh, what a screen.
Game's getting even more physical. Great tip by Holden.
There you can give it to Holden or Miller. Mike Krzyzewski keeping Carroll on the bench as long as he can, because he wants him in there to go for the stretch drive the last 7 minutes. He's coming back in now.
1-point game. Battier, great pass to James.
That's what happens when you keep moving without the ball, as James did. He didn't give up like he did on that last play where Williams threw it out of bounds.
Duke by 3. Dixon.
Oh, and Duke, that's the same thing pulled on them. Dixon without the ball.
Billy, what a terrific basketball game.
It really is.
22 now for Dixon.
And there's Morris, an outstanding shot blocker himself.
Morris averages over 2 blocks a game. We've got 6:48 to play, and it's still just a 1-point game. Advance Auto Parts presents the play of the game.
Well, there have been an awful lot of them tonight, but here's a pass by Battier into Boozer. He makes the curl move, goes on the inside, and dunks left-handed over Baxter, who could have picked up the foul there. No call made on the play.
6:48 to play in the game. Duke 77, Maryland 76.
Harrowell into the ball game after having been on that bench for about 3 minutes of playing time. Left hand.
Battier gives it a 3-point game. He has 26 points. Always plays big against Maryland.
Well, had 27 in here last year against them, so just 1 off.
Dixon. Yes.
Number 3,
Dixon's having a heck of a game.
Yeah.
He has 24.
He is so quick. As good a defensive player as Carroll is, he's just not able to stay with it.
Maryland's only been to the foul line twice tonight. They're 2 for 2, but they aren't getting the trips.
Oh, that's a foul.
That is against Taj Holden, the freshman.
I think Duke could live on getting the ball to Boozer the rest of the ball game. So many things will break down for Maryland defensively if they do that.
Billy, you mentioned it. 31 straight ACC wins for Duke.
A lot on the line. You know, a lot of people don't realize that NC State holds the record. Those are 31 regular season games. NC State won 33 overall ACC games in a row. He loves that floater, doesn't he?
He does. Makes it a 1-point Maryland lead with 6 minutes to play.
Dixon looks like he can play all night long, doesn't he? His feet are still quick.
Inside a Boozer, you called for it, and the block on Holden.
That's where the ball ought to go if you're Duke. And then just everybody else spread out. The big guy can carry him the rest of the way.
It's now a 1-on-1 situation. Maryland's over the limit.
I think under the 5-minute mark, you got to get Baxter back in the game if you're Gary Williams. Because you know what Duke's going to do now the rest of the way. You got to take your chances. He's probably saying, as long as I've got the lead, I'll keep him over there as long as I can.
Dixon comes up with a rebound. Maryland with the ball and a 1-point lead. Morris. Dixon.
He boxed Carrawell right out of the way that time. Very seldom do you see a smaller man get a rebound over it.
28 points for Dixon.
And that's a huge field goal because it allows Gary Williams to keep Baxter on the bench with the lead. He'd like to steal as many minutes as he could.
Out to Williams, beyond the arc. That's not going to be there, and Miller comes up with a rebound. Maryland's got a little bit of a run going. Juan Dixon feels like he can take Carrawell, that he's quicker than Carrawell, especially now with tired legs.
He is. He really is quick.
Miller, left alone, doesn't take the shot.
Morris made a tough shot out of that. He had a layup if he kept the ball alive with his dribble.
He shakes his head, goes down the court. Gary Williams puts his hand in his hands. Timeout Duke with 4:28 to play. Let's take you back to the window of time. The last time Maryland won here at Cameron, 1995. Neither head coach was here, but Joe Smith was, and he was on fire. Joe Smith, 40 points and 18 rebounds. Cherokee Parks with 20 points tied the game, but look at this, with time running out. Who's underneath? It's Joe Smith with the putback. Maryland 94, Duke 92. That was the final, and once again, the game winner came on this play. The miss, Joe Smith with the putback, and Maryland goes on to win. Billy Hahn was coaching that ball game.
And the reason that Mike Krzyzewski was not coaching, which is the fact that that was the year he was injured, and those games were not charged against Mike Krzyzewski.
Billy on the bench for this game as the assistant. Under 4.5 minutes to play.
Maryland has won a game since then at Maryland. But Duke on a run of 6 straight against the Terps.
Carrawell getting some time on the bench. Battier falling away.
That's just a great crossover dribble. He throws Morris on the shot. He has shown us everything tonight. Left-handed layups, offensive putbacks, 3-point shots.
A memorable performance by Battier. While Morris has really struggled and he's fouled, this will be the first time Morris goes to the line tonight.
And that'll be Williams' 4th, but he almost had to commit that foul because Battier was off balance.
Now Terrence Morris, the preseason All-American, is a 77% free throw shooter. Here it is again.
Backs Battier in. You can see Battier kind of got pushed inside there. Morris would have had an opportunity to put it back easily if Williams hadn't fouled it.
Wow.
No follow through on the shot. Did you notice that, Tim? Hands were swinging down by his side.
Well, he's fighting himself now, Billy.
Exactly. I don't care how good a player you are, in order to be a consistent free throw shooter, those hands have got to stay up on your follow through.
Somebody should tell him just to relax.
How about that one? A lot different.
Well, they started chanting overrated. Morris hits it. Maryland leads by 2. But what a performance by Battier tonight. Battier not only has 28 points tonight, but he's our nationwide ACC Scholar Athlete of the Week. The junior from Birmingham, Michigan, has a 3.3 grade point average, a major in religion. Congratulations to Shane Battier, our ACC Scholar Athlete of the Week. Quality young man.
Duke has its original starting lineup on the floor. Maryland with everybody but Baxter. And again, Gary Williams probably saying, I'm going as long as I can without him. Now remember, Duke has played 5 overtime games this year. So if you're sitting on the bench as a coach, you've got to be thinking about that a little bit too.
Williams, great penetration.
Now, what is Blake going to do? You know, he's got to be careful of foul trouble.
Tied at 83.
That's there. That last free throw where he followed through on the shot, I think he just talked himself into getting back into track.
Is he back?
Too good a player not to come through.
He has 13 points. Battier had a look, instead goes to Boozer.
Great move, comes up short. Battier walking.
3:09 to play. Maryland gets the ball back with a 3-point lead, and here comes Lonnie Baxter.
Boy, that's a great move by Gary Williams. Held him out as long as he could. Said, I'm going for the win right here. Baxter comes back in with 4 fouls, 3 minutes to go.
And Taj Holden did a pretty good job for him.
Well, he held him in. They weren't able to get the ball to Boozer enough.
Morris again.
Nope. Got to question the shot a little bit. Plenty of time in the shot clock. They've got a 3-point lead.
Big rebound by Morris.
Well, Duke got a better shot there, but nobody in position to rebound. I think the Williams teammates were surprised he took that shot so quickly.
With Baxter out of the ball game, Maryland had 14 points to Duke's 11.
Great touch pass by Miller.
Morris again, and he's starting to feel it.
Plenty of time left to go, down 6.
Billy, as much as Morris has struggled.
James asked for a timeout. Mike Krzyzewski did not want the timeout.
I was going to say, as much as Morris has struggled tonight, he's already above his average.
Well, basically the whole first half, Morris found himself 1 for 8, 2 points. But has really come back strong here in the second half.
Watch this.
No, Mike can't believe it. He did not want the timeout. We won't read lips there. There was the pass on the inside. A great touch pass by Miller. And Morris waiting for it out on the perimeter. Trying to do a little Michael Jordan imitation there.
Hey, don't forget, coming up on Saturday, 3rd-ranked Duke takes on the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech has struggled all year, but got a huge win tonight against the Cavaliers of Virginia. That's coming up Saturday, right here on your ACC network.
Down 6, they don't have to think about 3-point shots. If you're Duke, get that ball inside, but you can't waste a lot of time on the clock.
Ball taken away by Dixon. 2 minutes and 5 seconds to play.
If you're Maryland, just run your offense. Don't try to go ahead and put this thing in a freezer. Make Duke play defense.
Blake has a look and hits it.
Now Duke has got to think 3.
Maryland with its largest lead, 91-83 with 1:45 to play.
Got to be thinking 3s.
James beyond the arc. Swish!
And that's why Mike Krzyzewski did not want that other timeout. He'd like to save him as much as he could to stop action. Put his team in position to play defense.
And that, folks, was a critical basket for Duke.
Here we see Duke realizing that they've got to go for 3s, getting the ball in the hands of James. Now, if you're Maryland, knowing what Duke has to do, you can give up something on the interior knowing that Duke is definitely going to go for the 3-point shot. There was a case where Dixon probably should have played his man instead of trying to help out. Let them get the 2 on the penetration. Don't give up the 3.
Billy, Gary Williams did say that there is a mystique with Duke. And you not only have to beat the Blue Devils, but you got to beat the mystique. They've lost 6 in a row.
Well, he's coached an excellent game here tonight. His guys have really executed. Now he's got Baxter back in the game. Baxter's fresh. A lot's going to be asked of Blake.
Maryland by 6.
They just need to keep running their offense.
Is the freshman working on the freshman?
Oh, a hold.
And it's called on Carrawell.
Now, it's only the 4th team foul, and Duke not wanting to get themselves in a situation. They can go for steals here. They don't want to be in a situation where Maryland can hang on to that ball. There's another one.
Got those fouls to give. 1:14 to play. And still only 5 team fouls on the Blue Devils. Dixon broke to the basket, was open.
Oh, James on his, but nobody there for Duke. Another 35 seconds for Maryland.
1:03 to play. Boy, if you're a Maryland fan watching this ball game, your heart right now is pounding.
Let's think about that. Did that ball hit the backboard?
Sure, he smacked it off the backboard.
It hit the backboard, not the rim. See, this should not be 35 seconds again. That ball never hit the rim.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Battier with another foul.
It's immaterial now.
57.5 seconds left. 91-85 Maryland. Can the streak be coming to an end? 31 straight ACC wins for Duke. 18 wins in a row. Maryland's going to have a chance to win it at the line.
Dunleavy coming in, who has not had much playing time in the second half.
And the crowd is going to try to bother Dixon. Juan Dixon, a 77% free throw shooter, and he's had a terrific night. He's got 28 points, but misses it.
Dunleavy into the game for that rebounding and also the outside perimeter shot.
Maryland had a chance to salt it and couldn't. Williams gets it back. This is beyond the arc. Ahead to Miller.
Miller want to pull the ball back out. He does. Ball game. The streak is over. Gary Williams.
Boy, I don't know. There's still 41.5 seconds left.
He's bringing his ball club over. I think it's a very smart move. Take the timeout. Have everybody understand exactly what the game situation is. That was a smart play by Miller to pull it back out. Not take a chance of going in there for the layup, and then all of a sudden he realized his team had numbers with nobody from Duke back and hit the pass.
It's still a 3-possession game, actually 4-possession game, 41.5 seconds.
That was the deal. It turned it into a 4-possession game for Duke in 41 seconds. I don't think we're going to see that.
Stranger things have happened in Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Give a lot of credit to this Maryland team. Duke has had their number for 6 straight games.
Great job by Gary Williams tonight, but it's still not over.
Good job by Maryland right here to pick up full court, make Duke take some time just to get the ball up.
Dunleavy down the lane. Timeout Duke.
4-possession game, the 3 wasn't a factor. They will be the rest of the way, however.
Duke has just used its last timeout with 33.5 seconds left. Billy, what about Georgia Tech tonight beating Virginia? Now next up is Duke.
Virginia is hard to understand. Just when I thought they were starting to make a move to be one of the real clubs that would sew up an NCAA bid, they lose here to Duke and then down to Georgia Tech.
That's coming up on Saturday. It's third-ranked Duke against Georgia Tech. 4 o'clock start time for that one. Check your local listings on the ACC network.
Now,
no timeouts left for Duke.
Got a 6-point game, 2 possessions here after Duke made that score.
I think there's still plenty of time left, Billy.
Well, Maryland's going to have to make free throws.
Maryland's going to have to get the ball in bounds.
Well, here's a good idea. You've got an opportunity now with Duke trying to overplay everything. Break a set of screens, send a man long.
The guy who's been going long is Dixon.
Baxter goes long, not quick enough for it. Maryland's got to waste a timeout.
Well, he called that timeout fairly quickly.
And what Gary Williams is saying to the officials is that with the very short sideline over there, that the Duke players are leaning over the sideline, no place for the passer to go. Now, obviously, the passer can't move on that sideline, but he does need some room to operate.
.7 seconds left. It's only a two-possession game.
Just think of this Maryland club. They started the ACC this year 0-3 and have battled back to the position they're in right now. An opportunity to be solidly, they'd be tied with North Carolina for second place if they were to win this game, huh?
Look at those streaks. The last time Maryland won here at Cameron was January 26th, 1997.
There it is, going long. Good move by Maryland.
And Carrawell fouls him immediately. Now keep in mind, the last time Dixon was at the line, he missed.
As I said, Maryland will have to make free throws the rest of the way. They're going to be on that line. Maybe Duke cannot afford to let the clock go, so they're going to have to put them on the line side.
Say this, Billy, if they don't make their free throws, Maryland has absolutely nobody to blame if they lose this one, but themselves. Puts that one in. 94-87.
Has he got a 30-point game yet, or is that 29?
That's 29. Going after his 30th point here. 30 for Dixon.
Oh, a sloppy pass by Carrawell. Double dribble by Blake. Duke got a big break there. But Blake and Gary Williams are doing the right thing here. They're pressing full court, and it forces Duke to use some time off that clock. Look at Williams going all the way up. The clock didn't start.
That'll do it. And now Terrence Morris will go to the line.
Williams hit his head on the floor. Still laying down there. Terrific ball game by both of these teams, but particularly the University of Maryland. They overcame the Duke team and the mystique of the streak, as well as this crowd.
Billy, this has been some little tear by the University of Maryland, as you mentioned, starting 0-3. They won 5 of the last 6. Came in with a lot of confidence tonight. And with Morris struggling, they'll still walk away from Duke, ending the streak and getting the win. Morris now with 19 points.
Those 3 losses at State, they lost by 2. Then they lost at home to Duke by 10. And then by 1 to Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. So tough losses for them in that 3-game losing streak.
Last 20 seconds, Carrawell. Dixon with a rebound, and that'll do it. The crowd here at Cameron now realizes that this is going to end the streak.
And Dixon asking his teammates to go long and let him just throw the ball down the other end of the floor. But he was wise to hang on to it and get the foul committed.
Duke has had 4 turnovers in the last 4 minutes.
And looking back, and if you try to go ahead and break down this Duke game, when they were making that nice run in the first half, they went for a period of 2 or 3 minutes going one-on-one. I think that's what really took them out of this ballgame. They had an opportunity to gain control with a nice working margin and didn't do it.
31 for Dixon. We've talked a great deal about Dixon, and we've talked about Morris, but how about the job by Steve Blake to run this team?
And with foul trouble also, being able to go ahead and get Baxter and Blake on the bench.
10 seconds left. The Maryland Terrapins are ready to go to 17-6 and 6-4 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. A huge win for the Maryland Terrapins on the road. Maryland 98, Duke 87. We'll be back right after this.
ACC Basketball has been brought to you by Bank of America, by Dodge Trucks, by Advance Auto Parts, by Pepsi, by Food Lion, by Buick and by Bud Light.
Well, there is a huge win tonight for the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland 98-87 over third-ranked Duke. Our Pepsi players of the game. Obviously for Duke, it was Battier. What a job he did tonight. Just could not miss. And for Maryland, it was Juan Dixon. 31 points, and that ties his career best. So Maryland goes to 17-6, 6-4 on the year. Duke falls to 9-1 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, 18-3 on the year. Maryland fans that trekked to Durham are excited and are on the floor. This has been some win for them.
Juan Dixon down there on the floor getting his headset prepared for
Juan, Tim Brandt and Billy Packer, terrific game, a career-high 31 points. Can you put it into words?
No, I can't put this game into words. You know, we just wanted to come into Cameron Indoor, just play tough for 40 minutes, and hopefully we get the win.
Juan, you had Carrawell on you most of the game, particularly early on. It seemed like your quickness was able to overtake him. Did you sense tonight he wasn't maybe the same player you've played against in the past?
Well, you know, we're a lot better than we were since the last time we played Duke. We just wanted to come in to Cameron Indoor. You know, we just wanted to play Maryland basketball. You know, Duke was a hot team. They had a streak. You know, we also won 5 out of our last 6 ACC games. So, you know, it's a...
Juan, congratulations. Huge win for Maryland.
Thank you.
And the Terrapins go to 17-6. For Billy Packer, I'm Tim Brandt. 98-87 Maryland over Duke. You've been watching exclusive coverage of ACC basketball on the Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports Network.